All right. This looks like it's live.
Are we live?
It looks like everything is working. And we should be back, folks. That was the weirdest thing.
All right, everybody. We're doing Surahs.
Okay. Yeah, so we're doing
Surah 6 verses 96 through 129. I have the Quran from the Quran Project, the Study Quran, the Penguin Classics Quran. We also have a thematic commentary on the Quran.
We have Qurans from Abdullah Yusuf Ali, right?
Yes.
And from Maulana Muhammad Ali. We also got the Quran and the Bible from Gabriel Said Reynolds. And I am currently not on screen because Chris went upstairs. He was like, oh, well, fuck this shit. I don't want to be here. So currently I am behind the camera.
So Chris is off playing Poke Rogue, which is Pokemon, but it's a roguelike. You all should get into it later.
Yeah, also before we get into anything proper, or I guess while we're doing this stuff, what I'm actually going to do is delete those previous 2 streams because that was fucked up. That was fucking weird. I have absolutely no idea what happened, but apparently everything decided to stop working, and I don't know. Everything just stopped.
Yep, it was pretty messed up.
I'm going to have to delete those later because I can't.
Yeah, you did pick a great day to show up live because this is special behind the scenes kind of
it is. It really is. This is the kind of stuff that happens once in a while, but usually it's before we start streaming. Although you can tell from the title, every apostle has an enemy.
The Russians are attacking. Yeah.
Apparently.
Either that or the Canadians are shutting off our electricity.
It must be the Canadians. So Lilith, you must be the enemy, and Reuben and I are the apostles, as we will learn from today's reading. And I am going to go back on stream now.
Anyways, we're reading the Quran. You know, we've been reading the Quran, but today we're going to continue reading the Quran.
All right, we are back, and everything is in full swing. Everything's working now.
You like my incredible ability to buy time.
Sorry, what?
I bought so much time there.
What do you mean you?
I just kept on dragging on.
All right.
Nonsense.
Fine. I guess nothing else happened. I guess there was no other voice.
No, there wasn't.
Wow.
I don't know if your mic was even on because my headphones, everybody.
No, I'm pretty sure.
Everybody.
Wait, that mic was
Lawrence,
definitely on, right?
I didn't check.
Did you guys hear anything I was fucking saying?
Did you guys hear anything Lawrence was saying? Because my headphones don't work at all.
Oh my God. You heard? Okay, good.
You heard.
I was like, I fucking swear if I fucked it up somehow.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I was kind of hoping that they didn't.
Oh my God, that would be pretty funny.
Yeah. Anyways, we're reading the Quran today.
Yeah, we are. And thank you for being here. And I also blame Tomer. So today, let's actually be productive now that everything is back going. We have already introduced our Qurans, the books that we have. So
coast to coast representation. Well, we are from the Lake Coast, which is the best coast.
Right, yeah. Chris is here. Hello, Chris.
I don't know what the heck happened.
No, me neither. I'm currently trying to figure out how to delete those videos, but I don't think I can do it in YouTube Studio.
I congratulate you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Anyways.
You know, whatever. I'll do it later.
As long as you feel like you accomplished something.
I will. How about we hop into the reading for today? Now the
Cleaver of the dawn. He has made the night for repose, and the sun and the moon for reckoning. Such is the decree of the mighty, the knowing. He it is who made you for the stars, that you might be guided by them amid the darkness of land and sea. We have expounded the signs for a people who know. Okay, now that's interesting because the Bible does at some points have a star serve as a sign, but
As a guide, yeah, for Jesus.
it also warns against like astrology, essentially.
Right, you shouldn't do that, right? But the thing is, this is like any kind of celestial navigation, it seems, because it does seem to be. They talk about all these pagan practices as being bad a ton of times in the Quran so far. So I kind of doubt they would. This would be like about astrology, but like celestial navigation, right? People still do that. So the idea here is like it's all for us, though, right? Because it says that he it is who has made the stars for you,
For people who know.
Yeah,
Right. Which is presumably people who know him.
how to track using the stars.
Yeah.
How to find their way around. Yeah.
And he it is who brought you into being from a single soul, and then has given you a dwelling place and a repository. We have expounded the signs for a people who understand.
Oh yeah, yes. These are supposed to be like. So are these supposed to be the signs we've been hearing about? I think the argument really is look at the trees.
Is it?
It's
It's not even look at the trees. It's look at the beautiful night sky.
sure. Which I guess is cooler than the trees, honestly. But
when we were in high school, Lawrence had a telescope.
I did have a telescope. It was a shitty telescope.
Do you still have your telescope?
No.
Oh.
But it was a really
Lost in the
bad.
fire.
It was lost in the fire. A lot of
that
stuff was lost in the
sucks.
fire.
The telescope was the most iconic feature of your home.
The most iconic feature.
Yeah. The most iconic feature of his home was
Yeah.
this telescope. And like
It was awful, dude.
well, you had like a street facing window
Yeah.
too. So like if anyone looked at your house from the street, they would just see the telescope.
That is true.
True.
I legitimately only ever looked at the stars with it, but I guess I didn't really consider that people could be thinking anything else.
You know,
That's fair.
you should consider
I should have.
things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it was. How many times did you look out of that thing? Because it was so blurry.
I never looked out of your telescope.
You never looked out of my telescope?
Maybe once or twice.
I had a fucking telescope, and the only person that looked out of it was me.
Well, I was only over at your place generally when the sun was out.
Right? Yeah, I guess. Well, that doesn't stop you from using it.
I'm not Trump. I'm not gonna like stare at the sun during an eclipse.
Well, there's always tomorrow. Let's continue with the reading.
Let's continue. Anyways, he it is who sends down water from the sky.
Yes.
Really?
Thereby we bring forth the shoot of every plant, and from it we bring forth vegetation, from which we bring forth grain in closely packed rows. And from the date palm and from its sheaths, we bring forth clusters of dates hanging low, and gardens of grapes, olives, and pomegranates, like unto one another, and yet not alike. Look upon their fruits as they grow and ripen. Truly, in that are signs for a people who believe. Now this
literally
is
look at the trees. It literally is that. That's
Dang,
awful.
man.
Okay, so the signs are literally just like amazing things that they can't explain. So
Like, isn't
that would be like
amazing that we put seeds in the ground and plants come up in
a,
rows?
in a time before people understood anything about that or like anything about cultivation, right? It would have been amazing that you could have two seeds
That's
that
not
look very
this time.
sure.
This
Fair
was
enough.
written not super long ago, Lawrence. Okay, the Bible, Genesis,
It
talks about
It knows about
cultivation of plants.
Sure. Fair enough. But
So-
if you don't know about like the process, right, about how step by step, something like a tree comes from a seed, or any kind of fruit or something, right?
Even so, that is thoroughly explained in the Bible, which predates the Quran by like 1,000 years.
Yeah, that is.
So-
Well, it's not that it's explained; it's that they talk about the process of, like, if you take the seed of one tree, it's going to produce more of that.
They even talk about
that.
crop rotation.
They do talk about crop rotation,
like,
but
there's super advanced,
but it's not the same as
cultivation.
It's not. But what I'm saying is not the same as like the biological process that happens when you are growing a tree or plants.
Now, this is not difficult to figure out. Like some of the fundamentals.
Some of it, sure, yeah.
Like you pour water on the seeds germinate, they start to sprout.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
you put the sprout in the dirt and the plant grows. Like, there you go.
they get from point A to point B, but like the question is, like, this would take us probably longer to, I don't actually know when, but
they don't know about like plant cells.
Right, yeah. So like stuff like that, right? I could see how they would get to it's amazing, but the argument boils down to look at the trees. The signs are the things that they can't fully explain. Which we've heard a million times.
Look at the fruit.
I will look at the fruit.
Look at the fruit and tell me that it doesn't have a divine, all-knowing creator that can do whatever he wants.
There is a picture of a kiwi and a strawberry on this.
Okay.
And you know what? They look pretty good.
I think that they were created by
a perfect creator.
Some graphic designer.
Oh, okay.
Perfectly, though.
Yep.
Just as they are.
Well, let's continue with the argument.
Well, let's keep going. Look at the trees. Brother Jed.
Yeah.
He literally used that argument on me once.
Brother
when I
Jed
tried
was a
to
fucking
argue
idiot.
with him. Yeah. Well, he's gone now.
He is.
Oof.
Words.
They make the jinn partners unto God, though he created them, and falsely attribute sons and daughters to him without any knowledge. Glory be to him. Exalted is he above that which they ascribe. The unique...
Oh, yeah. So here's we talked about this a bit like in the earlier episodes of the show about jinn, but here's a bit more on it. The jinn are understood by Islamic tradition to be a class of beings created from fire and distinct from demons, humans, and angels. It seems more likely that jinn is another name for demons. There's some commentary later that he gets into.
Yeah, in chapter
the Quran
55.
here. Oh, also in later in this chapter too.
Oh.
So the Quran here accuses humans of associating with the jinn with God. Let's see. Note that in 1850, where the Quran explicitly names the devil one of the jinn, it also warns against taking the devil's offspring as masters instead of God. Oh, this is fun. This is fun. You're gonna love this, probably. I haven't read it, but it starts off pretty good. On this verse, Wahidi relates, this verse was revealed about the atheists who claimed that God and Satan were two brothers. Yeah, the atheists who claimed that.
What?
That God was the creator of the human beings, beasts, and cattle, whereas Satan was the creator of vipers, predatory animals, and scorpions. Yes, I completely believe that the atheist would say that. Yes, 100%.
That sounds exactly what atheists
So
would
atheistic,
say.
it hurts.
Yes. That is atrocious.
Horrible. Maybe on Atheist Sunday School we should have read atheist literature.
Right,
Because
of course,
people
right.
apparently don't get it.
No, apparently they don't.
I don't get it.
Should have read the definition.
Okay. The unique originator of the heavens and the earth. How should he have a child when he has no consort? And he created all things, and he is knower of all things. That is God, your Lord. There is no God but he, creator of all things. So worship him, and he is guardian over all things. Sight comprehends him not, but he comprehends all sight, and he is the subtle, the aware.
Let's see. I don't think. Oh, there is some stuff on this. So the argument that God could have no son or child may be directed against Christians, although in the previous verse, the Quran argues against those who invent sons and daughters for God, suggesting that walad here means offspring, not son. The way in which the Quran argues in simplistic literal terms suggests either a misunderstanding of the biblical metaphor of God's children, sometimes, or more likely a straw man argument. I am completely fine going with straw man. It is very hard to believe opponents of certain positions on what the position actually is. Steel manning was not always like a thing that we would have had like a concept of. I'm currently reading a book on the history of the synoptic problem and how different people, going back to like the church fathers, even dealt with the synoptic problem. And the author of the book, I think, is actually kind of dumb because he takes pretty at face value. He takes at face value what the church fathers said in opposition to their opponents. Or sorry, what he said about what they said about their opponent's position was. So like he assumes that they are faithfully representing Marcion's position or like any heretic's position. And he's just going along with it, saying, yes, this is the correct interpretation, so we can reconstruct their argument. But you can't exactly do that because you're only listening to the opponents, which is one of the hardest parts about trying to reconstruct a view of someone like Marcion.
Yeah. You know what people said about Gnostics
Right, yeah.
before we had Nag Hammadi?
A whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
There was a book written by Walter Bauer who tried to reconstruct the kind of what Gnostics believed, and that was before the discovery of Nag Hammadi. And some stuff he got right, and some stuff he got wrong, which was a really cool way of like confirming. Right, I kind of want to go back and check how much stuff he got right and wrong. I do have a copy of it.
You should write a paper about it.
Right, maybe I'll make a video on it.
You could publish a paper about it and write a video.
You're right, I could, but I feel like the paper's already been done on it. Actually, I'll probably read that paper on it.
Well, maybe if there's a paper on it, you could read it, and then you could criticize the
True,
paper
I could, yeah.
in a paper of your own. And then you could make a video based off of the paper that you write, criticizing the other paper.
Yeah.
Anyways. Yeah. That's something that academics do.
You're right, it is. Anyways, verse 102.
They're so similar. That is God, your Lord. There's no God but he, creator of all things. So worship him, and he is guardian over all things. Sight comprehends him not, but he comprehends all sight, and he is the subtle, the aware. Okay, so I guess they're admitting that he's invisible.
Yeah. I mean, this is, in an iconistic time period where they're really taking this like no image of God thing seriously. They are going with the whole idea that he doesn't have a body, right? Because we get a whole bunch of stuff in the Bible about him having a body. Mm-hmm. But not so much in the Quran.
Fair.
Okay, so there is an apologetic. The Mutazilite commentator Al-Zamakhshari understands the verse to mean that no human sight can attach itself to God, and that he cannot be perceived in such a manner, since human sight attaches itself only to forms and bodies. God has no body or form. Indeed, he transcends all forms and thus transcends the possibility of being seen. The interpretation was challenged by the Asherites, some of whom argued that God is not essentially and completely impervious to all perception, since he can see himself. He comprehends all sight. And although the statement, sight comprehends him not, indicates that not all sight can perceive him, it does not necessarily indicate that no sight can perceive him.
Okay, sure. Yeah, the word that's used there, latif, it looks like. Fine, subtle, so fine and subtle as to be invisible to the physical eye, or so fine as to be imperceptible to the senses. And figuratively, so pure as to be above the mental or spiritual vision of ordinary men. As if that second one means anything.
It's the third eye.
Sure, yeah.
If you think
As a thing
got
that
a
people
bunch of
believe, yeah. So unless you got anything
Some
more
assert, some Shiite commentators assert that sight does not refer to physical vision at all, but rather to the imagination or vision of the heart, which cannot, however, comprehend or encompass God in his totality. Sufis speak of the eye of the heart as a faculty for seeing God. The Asherites and Hadith scholars argued that the righteous believers would see God in the hereafter. On the basis of chapter 75, verses 22 through 23, faces that day will be radiant, gazing upon their Lord.
Oh,
As,
so in some, I guess in the end times, right? That's when they're gonna see him,
yeah.
and in a very different form than. Well, I guess that's super different, right? Because they use kind of that fire radiating imagery in the Bible too, for what God looks like. But so it's not too different from the form, but he's certainly not like appearing to normal people like at random times. It's not like because like it looks like Muhammad doesn't have like access to his face like Moses did.
Right.
Yeah.
But if sight is understood as a metonym for knowledge, then an interpretation is supported by, for example, Surah 20, verse 110. He knows that which is before them and that which is behind them, and they encompass him not in knowledge. On the basis of Surah 75, verse 22, others have suggested that seeing God was possible in the next life, but not in the earthly life, in contrast to the view of some Sufi authorities. So there's varying views on what this means, and it looks like there's a lot of disagreement between different schools of thought within Islam.
Interesting. Okay.
Insight has come to you from your Lord. So whoever sees clearly, it is to the benefit of his own soul, and whosoever is blind, it is to its detriment. And I am not a keeper over you. Thus do we vary the signs, lest should they say you have studied, and that we might make it clear for a people who know.
Yeah, so it's because they're talking about their sight here and telling people that they would be blind if they didn't see this stuff. I'm guessing the whole vision thing would be like physical vision. But well, no, not physical. It'd still be like, I guess it still kind of works for both. Like one of those commentators said, that it still works. What does he say? Metonym for it? Yeah. So I guess that works.
Good term.
Yeah. So for this one, again, we get the idea that there are some people who will just not get it, right? They're not going to convert. And we're going to get more into like how it's not really on them, right? That God, again, has control of who is and who is not converted.
Right. But also, he kind of disses us, right? When he says, lest they should say you have studied.
Right, yeah.
Right. What the distinction is, like those who read holy scriptures and then come to conclusions rather than those who have like divine revelation
Right, yeah.
of some sort, which is awfully close to the people who are like, you know, you haven't read the Bible because you haven't had a spiritual reading.
We
of
were
the
just
Bible.
Right,
joking
yeah.
about that again.
Right. Yeah, it's always a trust me, bro. True.
I do. I trust you. But not, yeah,
But not enough to
Not-
believe this
not
crap.
like that, man. Yeah.
If you just knew the Bible in the way that I know the Bible,
Right, yeah.
you would understand that that verse does not say anything that advocates for buying or selling slaves.
Right, yeah. You would know that if you explicitly pretended it didn't say that.
Yeah. Anyways, follow that which has been revealed unto thee from thy Lord. There is no God but he, and turn away from the idolaters. Had God willed, they would not have ascribed partners unto God. We have not made thee as a keeper over them, nor art thou their guardian. Do not revile those whom they call upon apart from God, lest they should revile God out of enmity without any knowledge. Thus have we made the deeds of every community seem fair unto them, then unto their Lord shall be their return, and he will inform them of that which they used to do.
So it seems like if you talk shit about the other gods, it will give your opponents reason to talk shit about Allah. And they don't want that. So he's like, better not. Better stay away from that.
And, you know,
So
you're
you can
not
like,
responsible for them.
right. They can always, like they said this before a whole bunch.
If God wanted to.
Yes, if God wanted to, he would convert them. And they've said, like, you know, I think this was last week, the week beforehand, where you can just dip out of those conversations, right? Like if there's something, you know, that in a conversation in which
if
God
there's
is
anything that like offends you or makes you question your faith,
you leave those. You can leave those conversations.
Yeah.
Also, guys, try 7th century. This would be an early 7th century text, so 600s. That's the time frame we're talking about here.
It's like a little more than 1,000 years after the Old Testament.
After a good chunk of it, yeah. But yeah, there you go. You're welcome, chat. Oh,
They swear by God with their
quick
most...
question. Are we back? Because it said that OBS disconnected
And then it
and
said
then it said,
reconnected.
and then it said reconnected.
This was a false problem.
It looks like we're back.
It does look like we're
does
back.
not seem to be an issue. It's just
I think we're back. Everybody, if we're not back, then I guess you won't hear us saying... But
That we're back. Yeah, back though?
yeah,
Okay,
we're
good.
back.
Good.
Ha!
Man, today has just been not a good streaming day. I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah, it's wild. YouTube, they've been trying to take us down for a long time.
They have been.
Mhm.
It's time to destroy them.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
we love you, YouTube overlords.
Mhm. Because there's so many great alternative platforms out there these
Yeah, right.
days.
Definitely other options.
Yeah.
Definitely not monopolized.
Mhm. Anyways, Vimeo, Project Free TV.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's old school.
Oh
man.
my god, Ruben.
Yeah. If you know, you know. Anyways, they swear by God with their most solemn oaths that were assigned to come to them. They would surely believe in it. Say, signs are with God alone. Will make you realize that even if they were to come, they would not believe.
So read this
Lawrence,
next.
That's a good challenge. If you saw a miracle happen,
Would I be able to acknowledge it a miracle?
yeah, would you? Is it possible that you could acknowledge?
Sure.
It as a,
Yeah.
Okay. Is it probable that you would acknowledge it as a miracle?
Probably not.
Okay. What would need to like,
it would have to actually be fucking miraculous. It shouldn't be like something a new magician should be able to do. Like, I'm gonna need something actually incredible.
okay, like, so like a bomb is heading towards a church, and and the priest holds up a cross, and the bomb goes like whoop, and then just goes straight
If it
up,
can be demonstrated.
and like fireworks in the sky and says "You're welcome" in like fireworks.
If it can be demonstrated that it wasn't something else, like someone remotely controlling it,
Yeah.
then I would be much more open to the idea. I'd be like,
Okay.
oh yeah, if you could like rule every possibility out, like what if there was like some weirdly strong gust of wind or some shit? Like, I don't fucking know. Something that had the power to do that, and maybe you would have a reason for that too. I don't know, but you would have to be able to say that it was definitely not a natural cause to that happening. Which would be a lot of work, but like
big giant glowing hand from outer space comes and stops it, then flings
that
it
would
off.
be. I'd be like, what? That's gotta be something.
Something.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what it is, but it's something.
That was something.
Yeah,
Something indeed.
yeah. Naturally occurring solar storm. Maybe that. Yeah,
Yeah, really bizarre shaped one.
right. Yeah.
Really.
Happened to be
I
shaped
don't know,
like.
maybe the Canadians are shutting off the electricity.
Yeah. You know what, Lilith? We might have a problem. You got a problem? Do you think she has a problem?
I don't know.
She's Canadian. Do
Where
you
are
think
we
she has a
gonna
problem?
get maple syrup from?
You're right. Trees don't exist anywhere else.
Yeah, we don't have
Whoops.
trees in the United States. We cut them all down.
That is true. We did cut them all down.
Anyways, we shall cause their hearts and their sight to waver, as they did not believe in it the first time. And we shall leave them to wander, confused in their rebellion.
Yeah. So this is them, like the people who would be asking for more signs, but apparently they're not. The best you're gonna get is look at the trees. That is, and like I guess look at the stars too.
Yes.
And like, oh, look how you can use them, right? He gives you useful things.
Wow, gee, thanks.
Exactly. They're beautiful and they're useful. Not that, people learn how to do things. But these are your signs.
Yeah.
And if
Look at the stars
right, and
in the sky.
and the people that don't believe it,
And
they are handed over to their sins. I think that was Romans 1, right?
Okay,
Hand them
wait.
God hand them over to their sins.
just these past few verses that we've read today. Lawrence, look at the trees.
Should I Google a tree?
Do you believe in God? No.
No. Maybe if I Google the tree, I would.
You didn't believe in it the first time.
Right.
So, if God wanted you to believe, you would believe already.
True. Yeah.
You're just going to, suffer in hell
Yeah.
or whatever.
That is true. I am going to suffer in hell.
Mm-hmm.
Whoops.
Whoops.
That's the response.
That does sound like something I would respond with.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's try this one. Even if we were to send angels unto them, and the dead were to speak to them, and we were to gather all things in front of them, they still would not believe unless God wills.
Yeah, remember that stuff about the
But
testing
most
God?
of them are ignorant.
Right, yeah. Remember that stuff about testing God?
Mm-hmm.
The whole idea was that this, looking at this stuff should be enough. It should be enough. And if it's not, then, well, you can't be saved.
Mm-hmm.
It's never enough. No, never enough.
Now, is this true, Lawrence? If they sent down angels and the dead were speaking to you, then would you be inclined to believe?
I would certainly think something is going on, but none of that would actually. Maybe if I spoke to those angels.
Yeah, the angels are like, "Sup, dude? I'm an angel, sent here from Allah.
Whoa.
I'd be
Check my thousands of eyes.
Check my thousands of eyes. Yeah. I would first think I was insane, so I'd go get checked out. But if it was all true, and I would have no need, like I have no ability maybe to get checked out.
That's
right?
why they're like, be not afraid all the time whenever.
Because they could, because the whole idea is if you see it, it could probably kill you.
Definitely.
I think an angel could probably kill you.
Easily.
With,
and those
with
people
it
from
being
Sodom
fire.
wanted to fuck them. Like, what?
You know what? Yeah, they truly had no fear.
No fear.
Those guys are real chads right there.
Apparently.
Cero miedo, you know? If you get it, you get it.
Yeah.
Alpha as fuck.
Thus have we made for every prophet an enemy, Satans from among mankind and jinn, who inspire each other with flowery discourse in order to deceive. Had thy Lord willed, they would not have done so. So leave them and that which they fabricate, so that the hearts of those who believe not in the hereafter may incline toward it, and be content with it. And so commit that which they commit. So, Lawrence.
Yep. Once again.
I think this verse is bad for our channel. We should abrogate it.
We should abrogate it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that.
Abrogate.
It does say
So
that we do that
instead of
already.
that,
So.
everyone, those of us who try to get you to disbelieve, you should definitely listen to our flowery discourse, which is definitely not meant to deceive you. And you should not leave that which we do not fabricate.
What?
What? Yeah, what he said. So there is a few stuff on jinn, right? So I was actually reading a commentary on this at the library today. So there is this idea that both jinn and humans have their prophets, but also their opposers.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the thing is, I still don't, it's hard to see a purpose to all of this if there is, like, effectively they're saying there is no free will this entire fucking time. Like, this book is filled with so many things that point to there is no actual free will when it comes to this. Because God, maybe it's just about the belief in God, right?
Okay, maybe the belief is like more mystical, right? Like there are oppositional forces that exist.
They're always fighting against you.
as the result of like the makeup of reality. And if God wanted it to be different, it would be different, but this is the way that it is. So there's always going to be people who believe and disbelieve, and there's always going to be like good dudes and bad dudes who try to like destroy your village or whatever.
Sure. So there are a few things here. So according to Islamic tradition, God created 3 classes of beings: angels from light, humans from clay, and jinn from fire. 4th class, demons, evolved when some of the angels fell
there's
from
evolution?
heaven. No, but it's better. When some of the angels fell from heaven. That sounds kind of Enochian.
Oh, certainly.
Academic scholars have generally followed the notion that jinn are a different class of beings from the fallen angels, and sometimes have proposed that the Quran inherited the idea of jinn from pre-Islamic pagan Arab superstition. This verse, however, suggests that things are different. Demons, looks like, was it shaitan or shaitan, related to Hebrew Satan, can be either humans or jinn. Well, remember, the first iteration of that would have been like this being who was essentially a judge that acted as your adversary.
Yeah.
Which is what we're talking about here, right? But then that then the way it was used, right, as time went on, it became associated with like just this evil being,
Right.
as like the big bad, right?
Right.
And they already have a name for their big bad. So the so this one since they're using the term here, this might just refer to like a more general category.
Yes.
But either way, it says, it can be either humans or jinn. In other words, the jinn are the fallen angels. There are good and bad jinn, which I have been told. Some of them, like some humans, are opposed to God, and thus called Satans or adversaries, I guess, right? The people who stand against you. And some of them, like some humans, believe in God. And then he lists some other verses that this matches. Although I do want to point out that one of these commentators, Abdullah Yusuf Ali, points out that the jinn by themselves should probably just be taken as, let's see what he says here. In many passages, jinns and men are spoken of together. Let's see, in a later passage, man is stated to have been created from clay, while jinns from a flame of fire. The root meaning of jana, or I guess yajinu, is to be covered or hidden. So in the active voice, jana yajunu, to cover or hide. Some people say that jinn therefore means the hidden qualities or capacities in man. Others say it means wild or jungle folk hidden in the hills or forests. So that's a fun one. And then he goes on to say, I do not wish to be dogmatic, but I think from a collation and study of the Quranic passages that the meaning is simply a spirit or an invisible or hidden force. I feel like that's probably too simple. But as we know, we talked about this on the show, I've talked about this in videos, there were many classes of demons, and angelology is its own thing, right?
Indeed.
Yeah, so like they get really complicated with these things.
Yeah, they do. And yes, April's saying they figured they would have burned all the books by now.
Oh, right, yeah. Good point.
So I was listening to the radio while driving the other day, and
like the actual radio?
yeah,
Wow.
like NPR.
Wow.
And apparently a bunch of the top book publishers,
Sure.
yeah, they're not going to be producing softcover books anymore.
Really?
Yeah,
What is
it's
that?
not popular enough.
Hmm.
Too many people reading on e-readers.
Oh, wait, hold on. So they're not going to... Wait, so they're
hardcover?
not... sorry, yeah. You said soft cover, so I assume they're
Yeah.
still going to be publishing hardcover.
Yeah,
Okay.
people will pay more for that.
That is true. People will pay more for that because they cost more, yeah.
Mhm.
Also, they last a lot longer, and there's so many like soft cover books that were like destroyed because they just don't properly preserve as well. Like hardcover books stack in a weird way, so they like keep each other protected. But
Sure, yeah.
soft cover books actually do the opposite. They're just like more clumped up paper for an animal to eat. Like if something eats paper, right through them.
Mhm.
There's worms that do that.
It's true. I do just eat paper.
No, you're not a worm.
You know what I like about softcover books?
Excuse me.
Okay, all right, worm, fine.
Softcover books are great because I don't have to like pretend to care about trying to preserve them in any way.
Sure, yeah.
Like they're gonna fall apart. Just treat it however you want.
Well, okay, I take maybe a little different philosophy, but
Well, I've had like soft covered textbooks
Mhm.
that have literally fallen apart at the seams.
right.
And it's not worth like, just beat them up.
I'm not going to be tossing them into rivers anytime soon.
But no, they're not Qurans. This isn't the Uthmanic redaction.
Right.
Anyways, why don't you start reading at verse 114?
We're 14. Okay.
Mm.
Wait, did we do 113?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Shall I then seek a judge? Well, you know what? No, screw this one. I'm going to read from this one. Say, shall I seek a judge other than God, while it is he who has sent down to you the book whose contents have been well elaborated? So, is it supposed to be the Quran then?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we talked about this.
The book. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the Quran,
Okay.
according to my commentary.
Gotcha. Yeah, it seems like everyone has said that. Those we have given the book know that it has been sent down from your Lord with the truth. So do not be one of the skeptics.
Ugh. Don't be skeptical.
Right. Yeah. Definitely don't do that. That's bad for you guys.
Ouch, it hurt me.
Look at that. See? Proof right there.
It's hurting again. Skepticism won't stop.
You could be like a Peronian skeptic.
Peronian?
Yeah, so they take like a statement like honey is sweet is completely unknowable.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But
okay.
I can know that I had a sensation of sweetness when I ate honey. Right. I can't say anything. Like,
is that what they mostly argue over, qualia?
well,
Yes.
they argue that you can't know anything other than like judgments, basically, about things
Right,
that
yeah,
you
sure.
think you perceive.
Sure. I could see that
Yeah.
if you're going with like a really strict
Well,
definition
your
of knowledge.
judgment is something that you know. Like,
yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
You do?
I know that I like that.
You
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Then.
All right, continuing on. The word of your Lord has been fulfilled in truth and justice. Nothing can change his words. And he is the all-hearing, the all-knowing.
What?
Yeah, right. It sucks you didn't hear that. If you obey most of those on the earth, they will lead you astray from the way of God. They follow nothing but conjectures, and they do nothing but make surmises. So we kind of got like the same thing in the New Testament, right? About like following the philosophers.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of gives that vibe.
Wasn't the Epicureans specifically called out at one point?
I feel like they were.
I think there was at least one verse.
Or there, I know that
Maybe it was
we
in-
definitely had a commentary because I forget which letter it was, but one of them could have been written directly against the Epicureans. I actually think it was from one of the Anchor commentaries, and I think we still have it on the shelf. I forget, was it Ephesians?
Maybe.
Maybe it was Ephesians. Maybe it was something else. Was it maybe it's like 2 Peter or Jude or some shit? No, I don't fucking remember. Probably not Jude. That'd be crazy.
They never sponsored us.
Anchor?
Mm-hmm.
You're right. Anchor never sponsored us.
Neither did
No one ever
Hermania.
sponsored us.
That is true. Neither did Hermenia.
That's fine because we read their books out loud for you without paying them. So,
That would have been cool to get a
We're gonna stop
sponsorship
doing that.
from Hermenia. That would have been dope.
it would have been.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll continue on though.
continue.
With yeah, so that was 1:16. Your Lord knows best those who stray from his way, and he knows best those who are guided, because he controls them. Eat from that over which God's name has been mentioned, if you are believers in his signs.
Mhm.
So this one here. It looks like, or yeah, his believers in his messages. The establishment,
it can be.
like blessings over food, or like certain things that God says is clean.
It's a condition for all kinds of food that one would eat, but which in the case of meat, which would forbid the eating of carrion, since God's name would not have been invoked over it before it died. Where a debate over the carrion is reported, there's other verses that argue about this.
This is okay. So this is a weird comment for this. This is apparently the establishment of the doctrine of divine unity, which is the object of this chapter. The establishment of the doctrine of divine unity, which is the object of this chapter, required the abolition of all idolatrous practices, among which was the practice of slaughtering animals in the names of idols. And these verses deal with this subject, which is introduced by an order to eat only such animals as have been slaughtered in the name of Allah.
Mm-hmm.
Thus, it is allowed to Muslims to slaughter animals for food, but the condition is here laid down that Allah's name must be mentioned when the animal is slaughtered. There is no doubt that the taking of a life, even though it be the life of an animal, bespeaks a kind of disregard for life. And it is allowed by God only because the full physical development of man requires the use of the flesh of the animal. Yeah. I mean, it's really hard to have, like, especially at a time like this, it's really hard to come up with, like, not that it hasn't been done, it's just difficult, to come up with a theology in which you just say, oh, yeah, we can't eat the animals. It has been done.
The animals are clearly sacrificed, and it's said that you should slaughter them multiple times.
Sure, yeah.
Explicitly throughout all of Scripture.
Yes.
In every single one of these holy books.
Yeah, so the one that I'm thinking of that that is like super like so against killing animals that they even wear the masks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that Jane's?
I think yeah.
I think it might be the Jane's. Yeah, I don't totally remember. I feel like it's Jane's. That like they wear masks when they walk so they don't like accidentally swallow like a bug or something.
Whoops.
Like they are like very, very serious about that. Yeah, Jainism.
So
that's
am
what I
I.
thought. Yeah, I
don't
bet
wanna
you are.
swallow a bug.
Me neither.
You know, I know an old lady who swallowed a fly.
Oh, do you?
I don't know why.
There's a reference I have not heard since childhood.
No, you haven't. Now you did. I got you.
Got him.
You got me. Let's continue.
Mm-hmm.
After that wonderful rib. And what reason? Why am I reading out of this stupid one?
Why are you?
That's a good question. Yeah, why should you not eat that over which God's name has been mentioned, while he has already elaborated for you whatever he has forbidden you? Accepting what you may be compelled to eat in an emergency. Indeed, many mislead others by their fancies without possessing any knowledge. Indeed, your Lord knows best the transgressors.
So, again, it is clearly laid out. Why would you do anything else unless you were being forced to?
Right, yeah. Renounce outward sins and the inward ones. Indeed, those who commit sins shall be requited for what they used to commit. I suppose that tracks with every other theology we've talked about.
That tracks.
Do not eat anything of that over which God's name has not been mentioned, and that is indeed transgression. Indeed, the Satans inspire their friends to dispute with you, and if you obey them, you will indeed be polytheists. So this is just literally any kind of like outside temptation, but they're personifying it as this is a further expansion of the idea of Satan. Because we went from part of God's divine counsel all the way to the big bad in Christianity. Now it's like, people who stand against you and try to lead you astray. And those would be Satan's. Which is really, talk about a democratization of an idea.
Right.
But I guess that makes a lot more sense with the Testament of Job then, right?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Get thee back, Satan.
Yeah.
There's not really a lot of interesting commentary here, but
yeah, there's really nothing. All right. There is...
I just get the image in my head over these last few verses of like factory farming.
Sure.
But they're making it halal.
Sure, yeah.
By saying Allah.
Yeah,
and
true, yeah.
Like killing each of the animals. Like they go one Allah, boom.
Well, that's
boom. Allah, boom. Like
that's part of the ritual to make something halal, right?
I guess so.
Is you have to say Allah's name over it. I'm guessing there's more stuff to it, right? Because
Imagine like how horrifying that would be if that was your job.
Right, yeah. I mean, like working in that kind of environment, I don't think I could ever do something like that. That's gotta be rough.
Yeah.
So the there's not really much on these verses.
This must occur though, right? Because there's like kosher and halal meat that people can buy. So it has to be farmed somewhere. It has to be someone's job out there somewhere to like say God's name.
Or to do whatever other ritual thing you need to do,
So it's not even just like a normal slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
It's like way more than that.
Yeah. So verse 122. Is he who was lifeless, is he who was lifeless then, we gave him life and provided him with a light by which he walks among the people. I feel like there are a lot of typos in this book. Like one who dwells in a manifold darkness which he cannot leave. What they have been doing is thus presented as decorous to the faithless. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
This was a hard one to understand because I feel like I don't know. I didn't totally get that. Is he who was dead then? We raised him to life. This syntax is so hard for my brain to make sense of.
You need less
Is he who was dead, comma, then we raised him to life. So this is all describing the same figure. Is he who was dead, then we raised him to life and made for him a light by which he walks among the people.
God's giving life to one who was dead as a metaphor for spiritual awakening.
Okay.
It's followed by a mention of God's making for him a light which was to walk among mankind. That is a source of religious guidance, or perhaps the Quran specifically. Light is a common Quranic symbol for spiritual guidance and revelation, usually in this life, although the Quran also describes the righteous believers in the hereafter as being guided by the light that radiates before them.
Okay, yeah, Abdul Yusuf Ali's is way better here. Can he who was dead, to whom we gave life? Yeah, that makes a lot more sense to me, because I was like, why is the syntax like this? Like, yes, it would obviously make more sense if we could read it in Arabic, but we don't. So we rely on multiple translations to kind of point towards the right thing, at least. But okay, that makes sense to me now. All right. I was having trouble understanding that one. So yeah, what
this translation in the Quran Project, and is one who was dead and we gave him life and made for him by which no walk among the people, like one who is in darkness, never to emerge therefrom.
So like Ron sentence?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is rough. I mean, I know it's kind of it's tough with ancient languages, right? I mean, this one's not like super ancient, right? People still know this.
There's some brackets and like,
yeah, you're allowed to, and when you're translating, you're allowed to throw in
have a footnote
periods
or something.
Yeah, you're allowed to do that.
Yeah.
Well, continuing on then with verse 123. Thus we have installed in every town its major criminals, so that they may plot therein. Yet they do not plot except against themselves, but they are not aware. So yeah, I mean, they're gonna, screw themselves over in the end. But it's interesting that we have installed in every town its major criminals.
Yeah, like, Jeffrey Dahmer.
He was
that was God.
He was a major criminal here.
Yeah, that was God's doing. He wanted Jeffrey Dahmer to eat those people.
That's one translation. Here's another one. And thus we have made in every town the leaders of its guilty ones.
And thus we have made great ones among the guilty in every town, that they may plot therein. And thus we have placed within every city the greatest of its criminals to conspire therein.
Okay, so the people who were the leaders, it seems, were put in charge. And
Well, not necessarily the leaders, right? The greatest criminals, the worst among them,
okay,
the worst
gotcha.
offenders.
Uh,
Public enemy number one. There's always a public enemy number one.
sure, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, leaders in every town, it's wicked men to plot and burrow therein. Okay, yeah, sure. So is this just like trying to explain like the worst of the worst people in every place?
Yes.
And then also
It
saying they're
refers to
screwing
those in the
themselves?
community who stand in opposition to the message of the prophet. Who has
Sure,
come.
yeah.
It indicates that it is often the most powerful and authoritative members of a community who stand in stubborn resistance to a prophetic messenger.
Ah, I see. Okay. So maybe there's a little bit of like, oh, you're just like you're not believing because it would like affect your public image or something.
Maybe like it mentions Pharaoh,
Oh, okay, sure.
Jesus, who was opposed by some of the leaders of his time.
Sure. All right. I'll continue on though.
There are other examples that are pretty extreme among the prophets.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Let's see. So that was 123. So 124. When a sign comes to them, they say, "We will not believe until we're given the like of what was given to God's apostles." God knows best where to place his apostleship. Soon the guilty will be visited by a degradation and severe punishment from God because of the plots they use to devise.
Look, when you see the stars, you say you're not going to believe until some big miracle happens.
Right, because this is more of that testing God thing, right? That the one set of signs is enough.
Including the existence of fruit.
Right, yeah. They want the same thing that people like Muhammad and Moses and Jesus got, right? They in their mind they want like an Isaiah or Jeremiah. They want direct revelation. That's what they want. And he's like, "Well, you're not getting that. You got to look at the trees."
Why can't you get God's all powerful, right?
Yeah, he could do it in an instant.
Easily.
It wouldn't even affect him.
If he wanted to.
Yeah. But he doesn't, as we know from this text.
Well, but that would be claiming that we understand God.
All right. Damn it. Okay. Continuing on, though. Where was I? Right. So 125. Whoever God desires to guide, he opens his breast to Islam. And whomever he desires to lead astray, he makes his breast narrow and straightened as if he were climbing to a height. Thus does God lay spiritual defilement on those who do not have faith.
I think this has been established.
Right, yeah. This is
look at the childhood cancer. Look, if
look
God
at how
wanted those
amazing
children
the
to
childhood
not have
cancer is.
cancer, right?
Oh man, that's crazy.
Because, well, in order to be consistent, they would have to claim that God wants that to happen. Because if God wanted anything else to happen,
But the thing is, think about what this is all being in reference to. Every single time they're talking about God, keeping people from something. It's always the faith. I don't remember a point in this.
There have been many verses where it says, whatever God wills, he gets it.
Well, sure, yeah,
right?
but when it gets to any specific, I don't remember any section so far that has been anti-free will on anything other than someone's religion.
Well, I don't know.
I'll look over the notes, but I don't remember it.
It's like a selection bias thing in part because it's a religious book.
Yeah, it says that he controls the hearts of like the hypocrites, right? And then there's the whole double apostasy thing, hardening their hearts, right? But I think that was still in reference to unbelievers.
No, because we have made great ones among the guilty in every town. They may plot there.
Yeah, but the thing is, this seems like, again, those people who don't believe, right? Because they're the ones who are saying we will not believe until we are given the like of what the apostles got. I mean, that's what it seems like. I could be wrong. Yeah, it seems like the you have no free will stuff only applies to belief.
It applies to pagans, disbelievers. Well, I don't know, because they hold their God belief to be truth, like in the way that we would hold, like, I don't know, some evolution or something
Sure.
to be true, right? So, like, there's believers in the truth, and
the people who don't, yeah.
then people who don't believe things that are true. And so maybe they look at it that way. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. Or maybe, like, yeah, it's kind of pointing to, like, the most true and fundamental thing for them is, like, God's reality and the day of judgment and all the stuff that comes along with it.
Like you could say something that causes a Muslim to stop believing in Allah.
Theoretically.
But that's only because Allah wanted that to happen.
Right, yeah.
Whoa,
And if he wanted differently, that Muslim would have continued to believe.
Right, yeah.
So
it's a very what's the word? Shit, what is, like, it's it's retconning, but what's the other word for it?
it's avoiding.
Well, sure, but, like, when you basically make it so that there's no there's no lose con for you.
Heads I win, tails you lose.
Yeah, something like that. It's like no, not divisive. Shit, whatever, I can't remember.
That's okay.
There's an actual term for it.
Speaking
Ad
of
hoc, like an ad hoc rationalization or something like that. Is that it?
Ad hoc's like on the fly.
Or, like, like, because after you're just kind of, like, after the fact, you kind of fit it into your
Post hoc.
I guess it would be
the
post hoc.
fact.
Okay. So I guess it would be post hoc rationalization.
Yeah.
Dishonest, yeah.
Yeah, dishonest.
The technical term.
Internet debater.
Yeah.
Right?
All right, continuing on then. So I think I am on
Verse
126?
126 is
Yeah.
where you are. Yeah.
This is the straight path of your Lord. We have already elaborated the signs for people who take admonition. For them shall be the abode of peace near their Lord, and he will be their friend because of what they used to do. Sure.
In their life before the day of judgment.
Right, yeah. As long as they were faithful. That's all that matters. On the day that he will gather them all together, that's the day of judgment, he will say, "Oh, community of the jinn, you have made many followers among humans." Their friends from among the humans will say, "Our Lord, we took advantage of each other, and we completed our term you had appointed for us." He will say, "The fire is your abode, to remain in it forever, except what God may wish. Your Lord is indeed all wise, all knowing."
Keep going.
Isn't that the end of the verse?
Yeah, keep going.
Okay.
The next verse.
That is how we make wrongdoers one another's friends because of what they used to perpetuate.
Okay.
Interesting.
So that's all the reading for the day. So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
That's very interesting because it says outright, like, the exact argument that we would make, right? Because you have this, like, fatalism, this determinist God that it completely it determines what your beliefs are, fundamentally. Yeah. If it willed differently, you would believe differently. And so whatever you believe is in accordance with the will of God. like, by definition, by existing, by being within creation.
Sure,
right?
yeah. Yeah, there's
But that's the argument that the jinn put forward, right? We have profited from each other, but now we've reached our term which you appointed for us, right? Saying that that's what God created them to do,
right, yeah.
right? And he says,
He's
the
asking-
fire's your abode, so abide therein.
Yeah, he's asking for a little. He wants a little bit more than that.
Mhm.
Than just to do your time, basically. So yeah, it's common experience that the forces of evil make an alliance with each other. Arid seem thus to make a profit by their mutual log rolling. I don't know what the hell that means.
An only log roll.
But this is only in this material world. When the limited term expires, their unholy bargains will be exposed, and there will be nothing but regrets. And then Said Reynolds says this verse illustrates the Quran's use of the term jinn to refer generally to fallen angels who seek to lead humans astray, but who can recognize the truth of divine revelation. And then I think there should be another note in here. Well, once again, he talks about the jinn, but then let's see, for 128b. Okay, yeah, I guess there's not much more than that. All right. Yeah, I guess that's all the reading for the day. I don't really have any more comments on the stuff we've read. We already talked about the jinn plenty today. Basically, the main focus of today's episode was the jinn.
Yep. How much of the Quran is the same as the Bible?
Same, almost none of it.
Almost none of it. Yeah, there's like similar events that occur with similar characters,
But because he's not reading a I'm pretty sure from the way this is written that Muhammad didn't have like a copy of the Bible on him.
no,
Or at least like he couldn't read it or something, right? Because
he was supposedly illiterate,
right, but
even though he composed poetry.
so, but I think one of the things with that is he didn't have a text on him.
Mhm.
Is the thing, because there's no word for word theft. There is no citation of anything. They make references to certain characters or stories. Sometimes they get those incredibly wrong. Sometimes the authors like use an apocryphal story, multiple times actually, and then sometimes they will have their own interpretation. Like the whole Cain thing, we don't even know where the hell they got that where they got their interpretation from.
No.
It's a completely different story of Cain and Abel. So no, they're while it's like based on like obviously based on the same tradition, it uses a lot of similar phrases. It's not like direct citations. It's stock phrases. Yeah,
It's like secondhand. You heard some stories, and sometimes they like mesh together a little bit.
yeah. That's what it
One
comes off
time,
as
my friend, he told me the story.
at band camp.
Oh no, but that's a different reference. I like that one.
Everyone, buy our stuff.
Yeah. We have a Patreon. If you didn't know that, link is in the description. We also have an Amazon wish list if you want to add some books to this table. We
have a Discord.
We do have a Discord. Actually, hold on. Is it not working? Holy shit!
Gifted
Emperor,
20
if that's pronounced right,
Atheist membership.
20 memberships. That is huge.
The numbers.
Thank you so much. I think is that your first time even showing up in the chat? That's enormous. Thank you.
Everybody.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Everybody, your membership.
Wims, Tarv, people we haven't seen in here before. I don't even know if these people are watching or
So
ever
many
watched.
of you are all members.
Right,
You are
yeah, that's
members
huge.
Of secular.
Thank you
Ultra
so
Quran.
much. That is greatly appreciated. I think that was their first time here too. That was the first time I've seen their name. I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, much appreciated.
But if you want to continue talking with us, you can talk to us in the Discord.
Yes.
For now, you can buy our shirts.
Can someone if it works today. I don't remember seeing Nightbot today.
No, I didn't.
Okay, I didn't. So if someone wants to try the command, maybe try it. But just ! Discord.
Dang, it has a lot going on though.
Right,
Look at
yeah.
all that.
Right. That's huge. If it's not working, the link is in the description. And April just tried it. Apparently, it's not working. What a bummer. So I guess the links to everything where we get where we have our shirts, right? Go get some shirts because apparently people don't even see them when we pin them to this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the people don't even see that. It's crazy. But thank you, April.
And the secret is, if you're already in the Discord, you can join it again. You just have to use a friend or family member's account and then give it back to them after you join.
And then make sure you don't tell them how to turn off the Discord notifications, so they always see the notifications.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's the show for today. And while I guess this is still going to keep going. Thank you so much, Emperor, for those gifties. That's enormous. Thank you so much. And that's all the shilling we got to do. Links in the description for everything. And they're still going, but we will see you next Wednesday. Which is a week from today on a Wednesday. The day after Tuesday.
Oh, no.